In the heart of deep space, beyond the reach of any known star, a grand council convened. The Exolarians, a species known for their peace and wisdom, had called upon representatives from every civilization they could reach. Aliens of all kinds, thin, scaled Zirians, the enigmatic Ormari, and the multi-limbed Trixai filled the chamber, each anticipating the arrival of a new guest. Into the hushed silence, Zorin, the leader of the Exolarians, addressed the gathered beings. Today we bring forth a member of a newly discovered species. They call themselves humans. The doors opened, and in walked Commander Reese Lennox, selected to represent Earth. With piercing eyes and an unyielding stance, Reese knew she represented her entire planet. She took a deep breath, feeling every alien eye on her. The Zirian Ambassador Ulka, known for his gentle, philosophical demeanor, tilted his head. "Human, we have heard stories of your people. Some say you are creators of beauty and wonder, yet there are whispers of darkness within your kind." Reese held his gaze. "What do you mean by darkness?" "Perhaps, Commander, you might illuminate us further on this darkness your people struggle against." Reese paused, collecting her thoughts as she felt the weight of every alien gaze. "The truth is, our darkness isn't something we can eradicate overnight. It's woven into our history, our stories, and even our instincts. We've spent centuries wrestling with it, sometimes winning, sometimes failing, but every time we fall, we rise again. We adapt." We learn the hologram in the chamber flickered once more, displaying images from Earth's troubled past, wars, revolutions, acts of violence. But then, it shifted to moments of humanity's resilience, people banding together after disasters, strangers helping each other, activists standing in peaceful protest. The council watched in silence, some horrified, others intrigued. Voss, the Ormari delegate, spoke softly. "Your people have endured much, yet the cycle seems endless. How do you keep hope?" Reese's gaze softened. "Because for every person who chooses harm, there are others who choose kindness. There's something in us that fights for light, even when darkness surrounds us." "Human representative, state your case." "Our collective has reviewed the violence, the destruction, the endless cycles of chaos that mar your species' history. You cling to existence like embers on the edge of extinguishment. Why should we allow your kind to continue?" Reese's pulse quickened, but she kept her voice steady. "Supreme Arbitrator, humanity is more than its past. Yes, we've known war, conflict, and violence, but we are also a species driven to learn, to grow, and to heal. We seek to overcome our flaws, not to be defined by them." The arbitrator's voice was chillingly indifferent. "Words are ephemeral. Show us proof of your redemption." Without hesitation, Reese transmitted a series of files, historical records, not only of humanity's wars but of our peace movements, our efforts to repair damage, to aid each other in times of crisis. Images flashed across the hologram, highlighting humanity's tenacity to rebuild and moments where compassion triumphed over violence, activists standing against oppressors, communities rallying after natural disasters, soldiers who had chosen peace over conflict. Ambassador Trixa, a tall creature with countless eyes, adjusted her stance, her voice trembling. "There are rumors that your species holds a capacity for violence unseen in the galaxies. We wish to understand." Reese shifted, feeling the weight of the moment. "Yes, humans are complex. We have stories of compassion, of art, but we also have wars." The chamber grew tense. The Ormari delegate, Voss, a species that had long eliminated violence, spoke with quiet intensity. "Wars? Your people harm each other?" Even after reaching sentience, Reese nodded solemnly. "Yes, humanity has endured countless conflicts, but not all humans seek war. Many of us value peace deeply. But sometimes we fear each other more than any alien threat." There was a murmur among the aliens. Zorin leaned forward. "What fuels this darkness?" Commander Lennox thought for a moment, choosing her words carefully. "Fear, anger, greed, and sometimes simply a hunger for power." But she added firmly, "There are humans who fight against this darkness every day. We protect, we heal, and we try to change. It's not easy, but every act of compassion is a step forward. We believe that one day we can break the cycle." Zorin nodded thoughtfully, the weight of her words settling on the council. "Perhaps we are too quick to judge," he admitted. "Humanity's journey may be unlike any other species, but that does not make it without value. To struggle against one's own nature, perhaps that is the mark of true growth." Tuvar crossed his arms, unconvinced. "And yet, Commander, your people still wield weapons that could annihilate entire planets." You ask us to trust a species that stands on the edge of its own extinction. Reese's voice was steady. We do carry that burden, General, and it's a heavy one. But I promise you, the majority of us don't want to see our world or any world destroyed. We seek to contain that destructive power, to use it only as a last resort. The council members exchanged glances, murmuring amongst themselves. But before they could reach a consensus, another message flashed on Reese's communicator: urgent, red lit, and from Earth Command. Taking a deep breath, she opened it. The council chamber fell silent as the Vecran reviewed the transmission. Their forms shimmered, and the arbitrator spoke once more, though their tone had not softened. These efforts are not without merit, human, but they pale in comparison to the weight of your transgressions. You still possess weapons that could obliterate countless lives. You still engage in needless conflict. Your species is a volatile presence among peaceful stars. Reese's heart pounded as she responded, her voice charged with intensity. We're still learning, yes, but we are learning. Every act of compassion, every choice to make peace instead of war, those aren't the actions of a species beyond redemption. We have the potential to contribute to the galaxy in ways that don't involve violence. The arbitrator's form flickered, as if processing her words. The silence was suffocating, and Reese could feel the council members holding their breath, waiting. Potential. The arbitrator intoned, is a fragile excuse for recklessness. Show us what prevents you from succumbing to violence. Prove that your people can transcend this darkness. As Reese spoke, a strange hologram flickered in the middle of the room. It displayed scenes from human history, moments of bravery, kindness, but also shocking images of destruction. The aliens watched, horrified yet captivated. Voss flinched as scenes of war played out, while Alka's calm demeanor faltered at the sight of Earth's violent revolutions. Trixer whispered, is this the true face of humanity? Reese clenched her fists. No, but it's part of our story. We're still learning, still evolving. Every generation we get a little closer to peace. But yes, we struggle with our darker instincts. A heavy silence settled, and Reese felt the weight of her entire species' history pressing down on her shoulders. Zorin spoke with a somber tone. Humanity's journey is unique, but such a struggle is unfamiliar to us. Tell me, Commander, if there is so much darkness, why do your people still hope? Reese's gaze hardened, her voice unyielding. Because as long as there are people willing to stand against that darkness, there is hope. Every act of kindness is a small rebellion against our violent nature. The message was brief, but chilling. Reports of hostile alien factions detected near Earth's orbit. Stand ready for potential escalation. The tension in the room heightened as Reese quickly closed the message, realizing the implications. The council noticed her reaction, their suspicions returning. Zorin's eyes narrowed, his voice calm but firm. Commander, is there something we should know? Reese steadied herself, choosing her words carefully. It seems Earth has detected an unknown force near our planet. I don't know if it's hostile or if it's something else, but Earth Command is on high alert. Tavara's sneer returned, darker and sharper. Perhaps your people have finally provoked an enemy they cannot control. Reese's eyes blazed. Perhaps it's a threat we didn't create. Not all darkness comes from humanity alone. The chamber fell silent as the council members processed her words. Trixer tilted her head, her voice barely a whisper. Then perhaps, Commander, your kind is not so different from the rest of us after all. We all have our darkness to face within and beyond. Reese felt a glimmer of hope, but it was tempered with fear. Reese was silent for a moment, searching for the right response. Then, with a deep breath, she spoke. Supreme Arbitrator, every species has a darkness within them. It's not unique to humanity. Even you, ancient as you are, have exercised violence in the name of balance. But we, like you, have those among us who work tirelessly to rise above it. The arbitrator's eyes, a shifting, crystalline light, focused intently on her. For a moment, Reese felt as if they were looking directly into her soul. Then, human, we offer you a trial, the arbitrator pronounced, their tone ominous. Humanity must undergo a test, one that will reveal the truth of your species' nature. Should you pass, your people may continue. Should you fail, the collective will proceed with its judgment. Reese's mouth went dry, but she nodded. We accept. The arbitrator's form pulsed as they continued. The trial will take place on your world, amidst your own people. We will observe, unseen yet ever present. You have one cycle of your planet's moon to prove that humanity's compassion outweighs its violence. Every choice to heal instead of hurt is proof that we can be better. Zorin's eyes glimmered with curiosity. And so, the universe must watch and wonder if humanity will one day conquer its darker nature. But know this, Commander, if ever your people fall to that darkness fully, we will not stand by. Reese felt a chill but replied boldly, and if we succeed, we will show you a side of humanity you never thought possible. The council remained in a tense, thoughtful silence, leaving the future of humanity hanging in the balance as the galaxies looked on, waiting to see which path the humans would choose. In the silence that followed, Reese felt the magnitude of her mission. She was here not only to explain but also to defend humanity. But as she opened her mouth to speak, another alien, General Tuvar of the Maltharians, a fierce reptilian species known for their military might, rose from his seat. His voice rumbled through the hall. Human Tuvar said, his amber eyes glinting, "We are no strangers to battle, but we fight only when necessary, with honor and for survival. Tell me, why do your people turn to violence even when peace is possible?" For even as the council deliberated, humanity's fate hung by a thread suspended between a fragile trust and an ancient fear that only time could unravel. As the council debated, Reese's thoughts were consumed by the warning from Earth Command. Unknown forces near Earth. Humanity's place in the galaxy was already fragile. Any misstep could shatter the delicate trust she was trying to build. Zorin watched her carefully, his gaze thoughtful. "Commander Lennox, I sense you're troubled. Perhaps this threat your people face has implications for us all." Reese met his eyes, uncertain of how much to reveal. Yet she knew hiding the truth could only deepen the council's suspicions. She took a steadying breath. "Earth Command reports an unidentified fleet entering our orbit. We don't know its intentions or origin, but we're prepared to defend ourselves if necessary." The council members exchanged uneasy glances, and Trix's multifaceted eyes narrowed. Another fleet, drawn by humanity's presence. How typical, like moths to a flame of destruction. Before Reese could respond, Voss, the Ormari delegate, spoke up, his voice cautious. "We will be watching, Commander Lennox." With that, the Vecran image flickered out, leaving the council chamber in a stunned silence. Reese, breathless, felt the weight of the arbitrator's words settle over her like a storm cloud. Zorin broke the silence, his voice soft but urgent. "Commander, this trial will test every facet of your world's character. If the Vecran Collective finds humanity unworthy, their judgment will be swift and merciless." Reese nodded, feeling both fear and fierce determination. "Then I'll make sure we pass. We'll show them that there's more to humanity than violence. There are millions who choose peace every day, who strive to create rather than destroy, and they'll see it firsthand." Zorin gave a solemn nod. "Then may your world's light shine through the darkness." "The council stands with you, Commander Lennox, but remember the Vecrans have left you no margin for error." As the council session adjourned, Reese stood alone, gazing at the hologram of Earth, knowing that every act, every decision, every spark of kindness would now be measured. Reese's jaw tightened, realizing this was no ordinary question. General Tuvar wasn't just probing, he was challenging her, testing her resolve. Taking a deep breath, she responded, "Sometimes we fight out of desperation. Other times it's because we misunderstand each other. Humanity's journey is full of conflict, yes, but we are learning. And sometimes fighting is our way of protecting what we love." Her words hung in the air, and she could sense the mixed reactions. The council members shifted, exchanging glances, uncertain, but Reese noticed Zorin's gaze soften slightly, as though he understood a piece of the truth she was trying to convey. Voss, the Ormari delegate, seemed troubled. He leaned forward, his slender fingers interlocked. "Yet, there are tales, Commander. Disturbing ones. Stories of violence inflicted upon your own kind, without reason or remorse. Is that simply fear as well?" Reese hesitated. She knew there was no hiding from the truth here. Yes, some humans act out of malice. There are those who thrive on power, who are willing to harm others to achieve it. It's a darkness that lurks in all of us. A darkness that some embrace and others fight. Perhaps, Commander, this is your people's true test. Will they fight this unknown force, or will they choose a different path? We wish to see if humanity can resist the pull of violence. Reese's voice was quiet but firm. If we're attacked, we'll defend ourselves. But Earth Command knows this, that retaliation without reason is a path to ruin. We've seen it enough times in our history. Zorin inclined his head. Then, perhaps, we will offer our aid. The Exolarians have resources that could help identify this force should you allow us to assist. Reese's heart pounded. An alliance with the Exolarians would be a huge step for humanity, but she knew that this offer came with strings attached. If your people are willing, I'll gladly accept. Earth has enough enemies without fighting them alone, the council murmured, unsettled by this new potential alliance. Tuvar, however, seemed less than pleased. Commander, would you truly accept alien aid so quickly? If this fleet attacks Earth, would you expect us to join you in a war? Reese met his gaze steadily. No, General, we're not asking for soldiers or weapons. All I ask is for your knowledge and experience. Humanity's trial had begun, and the eyes of the galaxy were watching, waiting for proof that Earth's people could rise above their darkest tendencies. The weight of humanity's trial loomed over Reese as she returned to Earth. The Vecran collective's silent gaze was on every human interaction, from bustling cities to remote villages. Reese watched her world from a command center, tense as news reports streamed in, highlighting moments both hopeful and heartbreaking. People were aware of the trial, some rallying to prove humanity's potential for good, others succumbing to fear and anger. In the crowded square of a small town, she saw a man break up a fight between two strangers, his voice rising above the chaos with words of peace. Further away, she saw a young girl offering food to an elderly homeless woman. Across the globe, stories of kindness flickered in amidst the turmoil, each act a spark of humanity's resilient spirit. But there were darker moments as well, riots fueled by panic, violence sparked by fear. Each one hit Reese like a blow, knowing the Vecran would be watching with an unforgiving eye. But we do have people, many in fact, who stand against it, who devote their lives to protecting others and seeking peace. The hologram shimmered again, and new images began to flash. This time they were of quiet heroes, human doctors aiding the wounded on battlefields, activists risking their lives for justice, families rebuilding after tragedy. The images were juxtaposed with those of destruction and ruin, creating a haunting contrast. Trixer tilted her head, her countless eyes narrowing. Commander Lennox, this duality in your species. It is disturbing and fascinating. You possess a capacity for love, yet such a hunger for dominance. How do you live knowing that at any moment, the scales could tip? Reese's face hardened. We live with that knowledge every day, Trixer. That's the weight we carry, the knowledge that we could either save ourselves or destroy ourselves. Every act of kindness, every choice to forgive, is a victory over that darkness. Zorin looked around the chamber, noting the council's reactions. He rose from his seat, his voice resonant yet solemn. Commander Lennox, humanity's tale is indeed one of contradictions. Let us face this together, to find solutions other than conflict. Trixer tilted her head, watching Reese with a strange mix of curiosity and skepticism. Commander, your words speak of restraint, yet your history tells of aggression. Why should we believe that your people will not fall into their old ways should the threat prove too great? Reese didn't flinch. Because it's not just Earth at stake here. I've seen enough of our galaxy to know that humanity isn't alone in this struggle. We're learning that every species has something worth protecting, something that drives us to resist the darkness inside use. This hologram shifted again, displaying scenes of various species across the galaxy, alien families, gatherings and civilizations that had risen from the ashes of their own struggles. Reese watched, understanding that she wasn't the only one representing a species with a history of violence and redemption. Voss spoke softly, almost as if to himself, so the humans aren't as different from us as we thought. Suddenly the hologram went dark, and an urgent message blared through the council's communication system. She could only hope that the collective would weigh these moments against the kindness she knew humanity was capable of. As the final day approached, the world held its breath. People gathered around screens in living rooms, in public squares, all waiting for the Vecran collective's judgment. Reese felt the tension like a pulse as she stood before the council, the same ominous, crystalline figure of the Vecran arbitrator reappearing on the hologram before her. His voice was as cold and emotionless as ever. Humanity has been observed. We have seen your compassion, your empathy, your capacity to build. We have also seen your fear, your rage, your capacity for destruction. Reese felt her heart pounding, yet she held her ground, her eyes unwavering. She knew that humanity's flaws were glaring, but they weren't all that defined her species. The arbitrator's gaze swept the council chamber, landing on each council member before finally returning to Reese. After careful deliberation, we acknowledge the potential within your kind, the glimmer of light amidst the shadow. Yet that light is fragile. An alien technician rushed in, pale and wide-eyed. High Council. The unidentified fleet has reached Earth. They are demanding an audience with humanity's leaders. They claim. They bring judgment. A ripple of shock went through the Council. Zorin's expression turned grave. Judgment? By whom? The technician's voice shook. They claim to be the Vecran Collective, an ancient race that enforces balance across galaxies. They believe humanity's violent history is a threat to universal peace. The Council erupted in murmurs of alarm. The Vecrans were known across the galaxies for their unforgiving nature. They had wiped out entire civilizations in the past, condemning them as too dangerous for the galaxy's delicate harmony. Rhys felt her heart race. This was the worst possible development. Earth had barely been introduced to the galaxy, and now the Vecrans were casting judgment. She had to act fast. Standing tall, Rhys faced the Council with renewed determination. I need the Council's support. If the Vecrans see only our flaws, humanity's fate is sealed. But if we can show them that we're more than our past, that we're learning, that we can change, they might spare us. But you have chosen to face your darkness rather than deny it. That, I believe, requires a strength not all possess. Rhys felt a surge of relief. But then the doors to the Council chamber suddenly burst open, and a Zexalarian guard rushed in, his face pale. "Apologies, honored Council members," he said breathlessly. "We have detected a vessel on a direct course for our planet, a human ship. Armed with weaponry." The Council erupted in chaos, voices rising in fear and accusation. Rhys's heart sank as she heard Tavar's mocking snarl. "Is this your peace, Commander? Is this your so-called evolution?" Rhys's face flushed with anger and disbelief. "No, this isn't. I don't know who that ship belongs to. I came here alone with a promise of peace." Voss stood up, his voice quivering. "Do you expect us to believe that, Commander? You bring tales of light and hope, but perhaps this is humanity's true face, the one we feared all along." Rhys, gripped by a combination of fear and desperation, stepped forward. "Let me communicate with them. I swear, this isn't what we agreed to. I will not let violence define us. It may flourish, or it may fade." The room was thick with silence, every breath held, every gaze locked on the alien judge. Then, with an echoing voice, the arbitrator spoke the final judgment. "Humanity shall be spared, for now. But know this, Commander Lennox, the Collective will not interfere further. Your fate is in your own hands. We grant you the freedom to choose your path, to rise above your nature or to be consumed by it." The Vecran's image flickered, shimmering like starlight. "Remember, human, the darkness within you is a choice." "We will not intervene again." With that, the hologram vanished, and the Council chamber exhaled in unison, relief and tension mixed. Rhys stood there, feeling the weight of what had just transpired. Humanity had been given a second chance, but with a warning that echoed in her mind. Back on Earth, people celebrated, unaware of the Vecran's parting words, the silent reminder that their future was fragile and uncertain. Rhys knew, however, that this moment would live on, a reminder to every human to rise above their darkest instincts. Tavar crossed his arms, his voice dark. "And if they don't believe you," Commander Rhys's voice was unwavering, "then we'll face the consequences. But I won't let humanity be erased without a fight." Zorin studied her, then nodded slowly. "You have our support, Commander Lennox. We will help you plead your case. But understand, should the Vecrans choose to judge humanity unworthy, there is little even we can do." The Council's hologram shifted once more, this time showing the Vecran fleet hovering ominously over Earth. Rhys took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her world and the galaxy bearing down on her shoulders. She had one chance to convince an ancient, merciless force that humanity was more than its darkness, that there was hope worth saving. With the Council's reluctant backing, Rhys prepared herself for what could be humanity's final trial, standing between Earth and the relentless, cold judgment of the Vecran Collective. The weight of the Vecran fleet looming over Earth was palpable, casting a shadow not just over Rhys, but over every member of the Galactic Council. Zorin raised a hand, silencing the room. "Commander Lennox, if this is an act of betrayal, we will not forgive it. But if you can prove your words are true, then we may yet learn to trust your kind." Proceed. Rhys took a trembling breath and activated the communicator, hoping against hope that the ship would respond. After a tense moment, a face appeared on the screen, an unfamiliar human captain, his face hardened and battle-scarred. "This is Captain Morrow of the Vanguard," he said coldly, his eyes scanning the alien council before settling on Reese. "We received intelligence that our representative might be in danger. Stand down, Commander. We'll handle this." Reese's heart sank as she realized the implications. "Captain Morrow, I'm safe. This council is peaceful. Stand down, this is a diplomatic mission." Morrow's face twisted in disbelief. "And you trust these aliens? You know nothing of their true intentions." "Earth sent me to make sure you survive this encounter." Trix's eyes flashed dangerously. "See how swiftly they turn to threats. And you expect us to believe in humanity's peace?" She looked up at the stars, the quiet resolve settling over her. Earth's future was theirs to shape, for better or for worse. And as Reese returned to her people, she carried with her the knowledge that sometimes the greatest battle is not against an external enemy but against the darkness that lies within. Zorin leaned toward Reese, his expression one of disappointment mixed with sorrow. "Prove to us, Commander. Prove that your people are capable of more than this." Reese's mind raced. She knew that her next words would determine not only her own fate but perhaps humanity's relationship with the galaxy. Reese felt a surge of adrenaline. Knowing that humanity's fate now rested on her next move, she tightened her grip on the communicator and addressed Captain Morrow directly, her voice sharp and steady. "Captain, you're under direct orders to stand down. This council has convened for peaceful discussion. If you fire, you will be responsible for provoking a galactic war. Do you understand me?" Morrow's gaze hardened, but there was a flicker of doubt in his eyes. "Commander, I'm only here because Earth Command received reports of potential hostility. I don't trust these aliens to play fair." Reese took a deep breath. "Trust me, Captain. I've seen the Council's peace with my own eyes. Stand down and let me do my job. Humanity cannot afford to be seen as aggressors today." There was a long silence. Their silence was tense, each one grappling with the reality that a species once thought of as primitive was now under trial by one of the most ancient and feared forces in the universe. Reese's communicator blinked. Earth Command had sent a direct message to her marked as urgent. She took a deep breath and opened the channel. The voice of General Samson, a hardened and respected leader, filled the room. "Commander Lennox, this Vecran fleet isn't here for negotiations. They've issued a demand: submit to judgment, or prepare for elimination." "I won't sugarcoat it, they've given us 1 hour to comply." Reese's stomach twisted, but she kept her voice steady. "General, I understand the threat. I'm appealing to the Council to intervene on our behalf. We have allies, we have hope. Let us try to change their minds." Samson's voice was grim. "Hope won't stop a Vecran death fleet, Commander, but if you believe we can still change their minds, then we're with you. We'll hold our fire, but we're on high alert. Earth is counting on you." The channel went silent, and Reese closed her eyes, drawing strength from the sheer desperation of her situation. Finally, Morrow sighed. "Understood, Commander. But if there's even a hint of trouble, then I'll handle it." Reese interrupted firmly. "Return to your orbit and remain on standby. And Captain, no weapons. That's an order." The screen went black, and Reese could feel every alien's gaze on her, evaluating, judging. Zorin observed her with a quiet intensity, but there was something else in his eyes, now a hint of understanding, perhaps respect. Tuvara, however, was not satisfied. His lip curled in a sneer as he addressed the Council. "Can we truly believe she has control over her people? We have witnessed the humans' willingness to escalate conflict, even against our own peaceful assembly." Reese bristled, but before she could respond, Zorin raised a hand. "Enough, General. The Commander has acted with restraint and wisdom under pressure, a quality we did not expect to see from her species. She has spoken for peace, even at the cost of defying her own forces. That alone deserves recognition." Trixer, however, was still doubtful. "But if humans are as volatile as we have seen, how can we trust them?" She turned back to the Council, who had been listening to the exchange with cautious expressions. Zorin stepped forward, his tone solemn. "Commander Lennox, the Council will aid you, but know this: the Vecrans are not easily swayed. They are ancient arbiters of balance, as cold as they are unforgiving. To them, humanity's violent history may already be an irredeemable mark." Reese straightened, her resolve hardening. "Then I'll give them reason to look beyond our history. Humanity's flaws don't define us, our potential does. Zorin nodded, but his eyes held a warning. Very well, Commander. We will connect you directly with the Vecran's supreme arbitrator. But know that this is not a council of equals. If they detect deceit or fear, they may choose to condemn humanity without a second thought. The Vecran connection was initiated, and a haunting, crystalline figure materialized on the hologram. Its form was an eerie amalgamation of sharp angles and shifting light, as though it were both transparent and solid. The figure's voice echoed, layered and emotionless, filling the council chamber with a chilling resonance.